In this video, I'm showing you guys 4 major interior detailing mistakes that you might not even know you can make, and I'm gonna share with you exactly how to avoid them so you don't have to learn the hard way like I did. What's going on, guys? Luke here with Wilson Auto Detailing. Before we jump in, leave a comment below this video and let me know what is the #1 mistake you have learned how to avoid in your professional detailing business. Is it a chemical that you no longer use because it's not effective enough? Is it a chemical you used to use but it stains or it chemically burns interiors and you figured out where it does that and why, so you stopped using it? Leave a comment below, share what the mistake was and exactly how you fix it now as a professional, because I know other pro detailers are watching this and they want to know exactly how to shorten their learning curve. The first problem area I want to emphasize is interior car glass. You guys can see the interior of this car glass both through the exterior lens as well as through the interior, and I kind of mix around the dirt just to show you that most of the dirt on the inside of glass is going to be things like fog or fingerprints or like body oils of somebody rubbing their arm up against the glass. And I want to very quickly highlight where detailers go wrong here. The very first thing that you can do to make your life terrible cleaning interior glass is by using a towel that is also used on anything else. A microfiber towel that's used on anything else should never be used on glass. Any glass towel is reserved in my world only for glass. The reason for that is because even after a microfiber towel has been washed and dried, even if it's just been used on upholstery or interior rubbers, vinyls, leathers, that microfiber is going to start to degrade. And when you use it on the interior of car glass, it doesn't matter how new it is, even if it's totally new. If you take it around the interior glass, you're going to get little fibers onto the interior glass that are hard to take off where the microfiber starts to degrade. Now, what is my fail-safe to interior glass in almost every single situation? It's a 50-50 dilution of alcohol and distilled water. I'm gonna spray it all over the glass, more like 3 sprays. I'm gonna use a waffle weave towel specifically, not a traditional microfiber towel that's like 300 to 400 GSM. I want a specific waffle weave towel that I only use for car glass. And then, and here's kind of a small detail that really does matter, when I fold up my waffle weave towel into fourths, I'm gonna take either just basic distilled water or maybe a little bit of Optimum no rinse solution. I'm gonna spray it down the middle of my microfiber so that it's damp just like this. And then when I start to take it off, it's going to be much easier to remove the product from the surface, meaning it's gonna be easier to have the product absorb into the towel. I know this sounds super weird and super detailed. #1, the 50-50 dilution of alcohol and water is gonna be what removes the fingerprints, and it's gonna make everything really clean, really shiny. Then I can come in with like a traditional glass cleaner if I just wanna clean up everything really fast, but I'm removing the dirt with the 50-50 alcohol and water. The waffle weave towel is going to absorb better than a traditional microfiber towel, but what most detailers don't really talk about is that traditional microfiber is actually not the most absorbent thing in the world. And in some sense, microfiber is designed to grab like upholstery or fibers on a carpet more than it is designed to absorb product. Water binds with water. If I can put a little bit of water and dampen the towel, it's gonna make pulling the product off a lot easier. And really what that translates to in real life is making sure that I don't get a bunch of streaks. So now the interior of the window is totally clean. And again, it's a small detail, water binding with water, dampening the towel, but it's the type of thing you learn after you've detailed literally thousands of cars. This is the kind of thing that speeds you up. The only other thing that I want to add is most off-the-shelf retail grade glass cleaners are really not glass cleaners. They're better called like glass shiners that you would use after using something like the 50-50 alcohol distilled water solution. However, if I'm dealing with tinted windows, just as a risk management technique, I'm going to use Stoner Invisible Glass because this is tint safe and it's something that does a good job cleaning as well. It might take me a little more time to get the result that I want, but if I'm dealing with tint, this is the product that I reach for. The next mistake I want to help you avoid is what I would call chemical burning any interior surface through using a really strong alkaline cleaner that might not be diluted enough. I want to show you a picture of what this looks like. It's really prominent on the seatbelt buckle, that little red button area on the seatbelt buckle. You can see there's like this white chalky residue. That's how I would describe it. Most detailers describe it that way, that white chalky residue that gets left over. And I think this is a problem that most detailers have no idea is even out there until it actually happens. But what tends to happen is when you use a product like Meguiar's all-purpose cleaner, diluted even sometimes 10-to-1, 20-to-1, a product like this can leave that white chalky residue on areas that are generally darker, interior plastics or leathers or vinyls that have been worn down, interiors that are not generally cleaned or detailed on a regular basis and are naturally older. This also tends to happen more too, but often it also happens when you use a product like the strong alkaline cleaner in conjunction with a steamer. Now, it's really important to understand that it's not always obvious when this problem is going to happen. And so in my world, the chemical that I generally reach for in order to mitigate that risk, even though it can still happen with something like P&S Interior Express Cleaner, diluted 10-to-1, 5-to-1, even 20-to-1, I've had detailers report the same white chalky residue happening. It is far less frequent, or it's more rare for it to happen using this product. I don't think that it's a problem we can get rid of altogether, cleaner, because at the end of the day, we're always having to walk the line between effective cleaning and effective chemicals and then not damaging fragile or more vulnerable areas. But just understand that if you're worried, reaching for 10-to-1 P&S Interior Express cleaner on the more fragile areas makes a lot of sense, because the likelihood of that white chalky residue appearing on the surface afterwards is very, very slim with a product like this. I should also add, if you're hyper scared, using something like Meguiar's Interior Quick Detailer or even Optimum No Rinse Diluted 1 capful for a 32-ounce bottle can be a really solid solution, because you will never get this problem, but you're going to have to take some time to actually clean that area, because those are not very effective cleaners. Now, the next interior detailing mistake I want to highlight here that a lot of detailers make is when they are cleaning leather seats. Again, this is similar to a chemical burn, but I don't think a lot of detailers talk about this particular phenomenon, but it's something I've seen over and over and over again in my detailing business over the years. When we're cleaning leather, depending on how dirty it is, we're always kind of wondering, do we spray the chemical on the applicator or do we spray it on the leather seat first? One of the easiest ways to damage leather is to take whatever cleaner you're using, no matter how risk-free it is, spray it directly onto the leather like this, where it bunches up and starts to drip down and run down the seat. Essentially what's happening here is all of this chemical is sort of beating up because it's sprayed in one spot, and it's running down in these really thick drip lines. And if you have any dirty seat or fragile, vulnerable leather seat at all, and any type of strong cleaner, it's gonna start cleaning that leather seat pretty much immediately. But because there's so much chemical concentrated in one single area as it drips down, it's going to start to kind of fade into these drip lines, where you're gonna be able to see the drip lines after you wipe it off, and you can see the specific spray pattern as well as the way the chemical dripped down the seat. The easiest way to fix this, if you're going to be spraying chemical directly onto leather, is number one, hold the bottle back and make sure that you get a pretty good spread. And as soon as you do, move the chemical around to the point where hopefully it even starts to suds up and it starts to kind of like decrease its surface area in some sense. Rather than having a big glob of chemical right here in the center, spread it out. If you have to let it sit, make sure it's spread out on the seat. It's a thin layer covering the area, and you're not gonna get this problem. It's a really, really simple fix, but it's something that you don't know is gonna happen until it does happen. The only other risk mitigation technique here, again, is to use a more gentle cleaner like P&S Interior Express Cleaner on leather, though even I don't always do that. And the final interior detailing mistake I want you guys to avoid is, if you are going to be a detailer who puts carpet lines or cleaning lines into the carpet after those carpets are cleaned. And if you don't know what cleaning lines are, this is just a way of moving the fibers of the carpet in one direction and then the other direction over and over again, and staggering them so that it kind of looks as if the carpet is super clean, and it indicates that it's been cleaned. The problem with pushing fibers of a carpet one direction and then taking the next row of fibers and pushing them the other direction is, if you are detailing really dirty carpets and you're using strong cleaners to do that, and you don't use something like a peroxide finisher to neutralize those chemicals after it's been done, those fibers can harden up and become kind of crusty and form kind of permanently in those opposite directions, such that if you were trying to brush the carpet maybe like a month later, you see that you've almost permanently put in those cleaning marks. And if you want to fix it whatsoever, you're gonna have to drench it with a pressure washer, scrub it as hard as you can, make sure those fibers get kind of not crusty again, and then rinse it all out and make sure all the chemicals down in peroxide, and finish it with a peroxide finisher anyway. So if you're gonna put those cleaning stripes or cleaning marks in the carpets, make sure that you're neutralizing things afterwards. And it's not something I do in my business, because it's just not something I want to worry about. So there it is, some major interior detailing mistakes and exactly how to avoid them. Like I said, often you don't even know you can make these mistakes until you do it maybe 10 or 20 times and you figure out, oh, there's a pattern here and here's how I can avoid it. Hopefully this will shorten your learning curve. Guys, as always, if you want a full list of everything I suggest for interiors, exteriors, and everything for pro detailers, you can check it out in the YouTube description box below. I've got a free resource. It's called the Pro Detailing Toolbox. And if you want to check out any of the tools or products I used here, I'll link those up below as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, from Luke here at Wilson Auto Detailing, a great detailer is always learning. And I will see you guys in the next video.